Hi everyone, Samuel here. Welcome back to another video. Now in this video I want to show you how I edit my photographs inside Lightroom, but I'm also going to release today my own custom Lightroom presets and profiles. And this is kind of funny to me because I thought I would never do that, and I actually plan to make a video about that topic that I would title Why I Will Never Sell You Lightroom Presets. And that is because my philosophy when it comes to editing and photography in general is to keep it as simple as possible. And that hasn't changed, but there's one specific look that I already get on one of these cameras that I can't get on the other. And that is my personal all-time favorite film simulation, which is positive film of the Ricoh GR. And I fell in love with positive film in 2013 when I got my first Ricoh GR, and I used it for everything, you know, for travel photography, for portraits, for street photography. But I wasn't able to use it on my RAW files because if you have a Ricoh GR, you can't use the effects on the RAW files. And that's why I tried to emulate the look of positive film inside Lightroom, and I never got it right. I almost thought it is impossible. And I researched online if there's anything out there, but there's nothing that really comes close to it. There are a few presets from the Visco pack, for example, or some Aqua or Kodachrome presets that have the same vibe, you know, but not quite the same color palette. And 2 months ago, when I got the GR3, I tried it again. And this time, I don't know really what I did, but I did something right, and I got so close to it that I thought, you know, if I just put a little bit more work into it, I might actually be able to get it, you know, right and get the positive film look. And I don't want to claim that I got it 100% right, but maybe I am at around 93%, which is more than enough for me. And I will show you side-by-side comparisons from the original positive film effect and my preset, and you will see that they're, you know, almost the same. And for me personally, because I use these two cameras simultaneously, I wanted to have something that I can use for all my cameras to have the same skin colors, you know, to have the same color palette. And it actually works really, really well on my Fujifilm X100F. It really does look like I've shot it on my Ricoh GR. So I'm happy to announce that I created this preset pack. It is available on my website. I will have a link under this video. And I created 6 different variations of the positive film effect, which I call positive color. And they are based on the GR1 and GR2 positive film effect, and also the GR3 positive film effect, because the GR3 has a slightly different positive film effect, which has less of a vintage vibe, but still the same colors. And I also made a preset based on my second favorite film simulation, which, you guessed it right, is Fujifilm X100F. Of course, there are some details that I just can't emulate, but I'm still happy with the results, and I used that for my GR, for example. And I made 2 versions of my preset pack, and one is for the Lightroom CC 2019 or Classic CC, and the other one is for, you know, CC 2015. If you use any other older Lightroom version that still uses the lr.template files, you will be able to use them too. But for the newer versions, which I recommend that you use, you will get the benefits of having the profiles and the presets working together. and so that all the sliders will be set to 0. Or if you do your own editing and then apply my preset, all the sliders will be untouched. And also you will get a slider where you can change the amount of the effect. So let me show you how to install the presets. Okay, here we are inside Lightroom 2015, and to install the presets you go to Lightroom, Preferences, and then to Show Lightroom Presets folder. Then this will pop up, and here under Lightroom you go to Develop Presets, and here's where you insert my presets folder. So this is what you get when you download my presets. You get this zip file. Let's unzip it and open it up, and then you have two versions. One is for the older Lightroom versions, for example CC 2015, and one is for Classic CC or 2019. So select this one, open it, and then this folder contains all the presets, and you will see it's the LR template file. And go back and select this folder and just drag and drop it into here. And then restart Lightroom CC 2015, and when you go to presets now, there should be my presets. Now we are inside Lightroom Classic CC. This is the current Lightroom version. And go to Lightroom again, and then to Preferences. Then click on Show All Other Lightroom Presets. And then we are again in this folder here, but we don't want to go inside Lightroom. We want to go up to Camera Raw and then go to Settings. And here's where you would insert my presets folder. So go back to the unzipped presets folder, click on it and click on Lightroom Classic CC. And here we have this folder here that contains all the profiles and presets, and they are now XMP files. Just go back and just select this folder again and just drag and drop it into this folder. And again, after restarting Lightroom, you can go to presets, and there you have my presets folder. Okay, now after installing the presets, let's check them out in more detail. And if I go to positive color number 1 and click on it, so this is how it will look like. And you will notice that on the right side, all the sliders are changed. So this is because this is an older version of Lightroom, and you will see all the changes I made. Now if you go to Lightroom Classic CC, again, let's click on positive color number 1. You will see on the right side now nothing is changed. Everything is set to 0. And this is because this is actually combined with a profile. And you see here up on the right corner, it says Profile PC number 1. And you have this amount slider now. So you can change the effect by using this amount slider. Now let's reset this image, and let's say you want to edit this, maybe the highlights, bring them down, shadow, and do something here with the tone curve. Let's say you already edit your photo and then you want to apply my preset afterwards. So let's do that. You will see that all the changes you made on the right side are still there. So there's nothing affected, and this is really a benefit of using the newer versions of Lightroom. Now let's look at all the presets one by one. Now here we have an image that I took in Berlin, and we have lots of red and green in the background, and you will see that the most changes are made with the red and green channels. Now let's go to the left. Here we have positive color number 1. Now this is what the original GR1 and 2 will look like when you shoot positive film. Now this has quite a strong magenta tint, and that is on purpose. If you don't like that, just go one preset down, and this will eliminate the magenta tint. And then we have positive color number 3, and this is what the GR3 looks like when you shoot positive film. And let's see the before and after. Before, after. You see the most changes are made in the color, but not much with the contrast. And this is because I want this as my starting point. So if I select this, I can start editing this now. And if I want to have more contrast, I can do that afterwards. And I usually would edit my pictures by using the tone curve. Now the first 3 presets are the presets that I use the most, because they give me the best results. And I made several more that are just variations of it. So let's go to positive color number 4, and you see a desaturated version, and also the dynamic range is increased. For example, you can see much more in the sky, and this I don't use that much, but maybe you want to start with more dynamic range, this would be an option. And you can always go and increase the saturation if it's too low for you. So number 5 is another desaturated version. And to be honest, I don't really know why I have this, but I sent my presets out to some friends and they said that I should leave them inside the preset pack because they like to use these desaturated presets. And then we have positive color number 6, which is another version of the positive color number 1. So these 3 here, I don't use them that much, but sometimes they work very good on portraits, for example, or if you just want to have less saturation. Next we have my chrome presets. Now let's start with standard. This is, like I said in the beginning, inspired by Fujifilm X100F, and I did a little bit of tweaking with the tone curve, but not much, and so it looks quite flat, but I really like that because I want this to be my starting point. And then we have yellow, red, green and blue filters. So let's say you want to brighten up the skin, you would use yellow or red, for example. Now in this case, because she is wearing a red coat, this will get very bright, of course. And again, all I do is really just adjust the tone curve until I like what I see. So maybe something like that. Then I have 2 more presets that give you a little bit of film grain. And let's go into detail here. So here we have her face. Now this image is already quite grainy because I shot it at ISO 2000. But you will see if I go to the fine grain preset, it gives me a little bit of grain, but it doesn't affect the sharpness that much. And then I also have soft grain. And if you see, this really softens the image because I wanted to have something that looks like a scanned film. So if I scan my film at home, it often looks like that. Again, let's start from the top. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Standard, yellow, red, green, blue. This was in London, Oxford Street. Nothing special here, but just to show you a busy street. Let's go down again from positive color number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Standard, yellow, red, green, blue. Here are some kids playing in Italy, in Tropea. Let's see, positive color number 1, 2, 3. And I think number 1 works good here. Maybe I would dial in a little bit more green and maybe change the white balance, make it cooler. Yeah, something like that. Here's another shot that I took in Shibuya, and let's see what positive color number 1 does. So this already looks very nice. I like the result. I wouldn't change much here. Maybe I would go and increase the brightness a little bit. But I'm quite happy with the result already. Here's a shot that I took of Bello, and if I choose the positive color number 1, you really see a huge difference, especially the leaves get quite desaturated, and this has already quite the film look. Here, one of my best photos ever. So let's see what my presets are doing here. So this is positive color number 1. And again, the magenta tint just gives it a little bit more of a vintage feel. Now here's a good example where positive color number 1 might be a bit too much. And I actually prefer to use positive color number 5 here. And if I adjust the brightness and maybe do a little bit of adjusting here, I get much nicer results. So this is an example where I wouldn't use the positive color number 1 and maybe positive color number 5 works better here. Here we have a shot that I took on the 5D Mark II. Now the white balance of course is quite off here, so let's correct that. And this looks much better. Maybe adjust the exposure. So let's see what positive color number 1 does. Okay, a lot of magenta tint again. If you don't want that, just go down 1 preset below and you will see it eliminates the magenta tint. And this looks quite nice. Maybe I will try positive color number 3. So before and after. And I think I would choose positive color number 3 here. And I actually already like the result. I wouldn't change much here. Here's another shot that I didn't take, but my friend Ulysses from Tokyo took this with his M9. And the Leica M9 already has quite good skin tones and really beautiful colors. So you don't have to do much. But just for fun, let's see what the presets are doing. Yeah, and this is really what I like about the positive color number 1. It just gives you that little bit of vintage feel and film-like look. I really like this here. Okay, let's look at more portraits. This one here shot on the Canon 5D Mark II. Let's see what positive color number 1 does. And this is really, I think this is really nice. I really like how positive color number 1 looks. Yeah, and then maybe I would increase the saturation, or maybe not. I actually like how it looks just out of the box. There's one important thing that I have to mention. If you are going to use my presets, don't start by going to the profiles here and select them first, because you see the result is quite different. This is the profile for the positive color number 1, and this is how it looks. And if I go to my presets, it looks different. And that is because if I apply my profile here, you will see the calibration section here is unchanged, but on my presets I actually changed that. And this is because the profiles are not saving my calibration settings. I don't know why, but this is why you should use the presets on the left side. And also sometimes with the positive color number 4 and 5, you get some heavy bending. Like 1, 2 and 3, there's no problem, but if you go to 4 or 5, you see that there's some bending here on his face. Now this one is of course, you know, a difficult lighting situation, but this can happen sometimes. And if you see that, go to your color channels here. Usually it has to do with luminance. Go to luminance and click the circle and select the part that you want to eliminate, and see if you can do that by lowering the luminance. And it already starts to look much better now. So this is how you could correct that. Now sometimes you want to preserve a certain color, let's say yellow, for example, like here. If you use one of my presets, the yellow tones will be desaturated quite a bit, and they also look a bit orangey. And if you want to preserve the yellow colors, just go here to the channels, to the color channels, and go to hue and click on that little circle here. Then you can select a part that you want to change, and just click here, hold it and go up or down, and you can see you can change the hue. So if you want to change a color, you can do it that way. So before I start any presets, I will always correct the image first, like white balance or exposure. And when that is done, then I would apply my presets. So let's say here, I mean, there's nothing really to change. It looks already quite nice, maybe a bit warmer white balance. And then I would apply my presets. So maybe number 3. Okay, maybe go back and change the white balance like that. And then I would always go to the tone curve, and I would often don't do the usual S curve like that. I would often try to preserve the highlights by leaving this here straight and then pushing the mids and the low ends a little bit, and then just a bit here bringing back the blacks to make it pop a little bit more. But it depends on the image. Here it does work. Let's see how this looks in black and white. This is the Chrome standard. Yellow, red, green, blue. I would probably go for yellow or standard. Probably yellow. And this to me is a bit too much contrast. Maybe go down with the highlights. But this is, you know, a personal preference. I don't like too much contrast. Yeah, maybe something like that. Also, I'm not a fan of the sharpening tool here. It's always set to 40. I don't like that. I always go down to 15. Here is another shot taken with the X100F. And I know you are curious how my presets compare to the Fujifilm film simulations, right? So let's check it out. Let's select maybe Classic Chrome. And I would increase the saturation a bit because I like that more. Maybe change the exposure. So this is Classic Chrome. And let's duplicate this file. Create a virtual copy. And I'm going to reset this. And I'm going to apply my positive color number 1. And let's switch back and forth between Classic Chrome and positive color number 1. This is Classic Chrome. This is positive color number 1. Let's change it to positive color number 3. Go back to Classic Chrome and positive color number 3. Maybe I like positive color number 2 better here. Of course, I changed a lot here with the tone curve inside this preset. So if we change this here for classic chrome, maybe, you know, we get a closer result. But what I really notice between them is just the colors. There are a few colors that look very different on classic chrome, like this green here, for example, looks different on the positive film effect. So here's a street in Toronto. Let's apply the positive color number 1. This is how it looks like. And let's make this also grainy with my grain presets. Let's go for the soft grain. And let's make this full screen. And let's go right into 100%. So this is what my soft grain would look like on a color preset. Now, of course, we lose a bit of sharpness, but that's the whole point. But if you don't want to use that, you can also go and select fine grain. Then the sharpness will not... Oh my god, what's happening? So if you use fine grain, the sharpness should still be intact. Yeah. So these are my color and chrome presets. I'm very happy with how they turned out. This is really what I wanted since 2013. I'm sure you will enjoy them as well. If you want to check them out, a link in the description. Let me know how you like them, and if you're planning to use them on Instagram, for example, maybe use the hashtag streetlife_presets. I would love to see what you guys are doing with them. That would be really cool. Yeah, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching. Have a great week or weekend, and I see you in the next video. Bye bye.